there, my name is Rachel Adner. I am going to record my first video. I just re-recorded the whole thing and it deleted, so I'm going to try to say the exact same thing that I just said. So I haven't gotten to do any tutoring yet, so I haven't gotten necessarily to see these things kind of come to life. So next Monday will be my first session, or this Monday, so looking forward to kind of utilizing maybe some of the things that I've learned. So I'll just jump right in. The first thing that I liked about the book, kind of gave me kind of a good starting perspective, was the model of multiple dimensions of identity. So we talk about the core, which are things that are not, they're things that you think about yourself that are not necessarily as susceptible to outside, I don't want to say like judgment, but they're not as likely to change. So we have the core, and then we have the context, which typically are social identities that you identify with. So for me, that would be white, female, educated, working to middle class. But what I really liked about the reading that they talked about was how some of the contexts are more salient than others. So and also how the context can change in relation to the core after, like reflection and certain experiences. So that, to me, that kind of makes sense because, for instance, education was never really an identity that I don't think was really that I identified with very closely until I went to college, and I finished college because I was the first one to have a bachelor's degree in my immediate family, and then I'm the first one pursuing a master's degree pretty much in my entire family. So I think for me, that shifted. Education probably wasn't an initial context for me, and has definitely gotten closer to my identity. So I thought that was cool, and I can just imagine how that's relatable to college students as they come to college and kind of start to learn about themselves and their identities and what they're identifying with, and how those things change. So another thing that I liked in the book, I think it was the Green Book, when I talk about the Holland's person environment theory, and kind of how that just talks about how we typically seek out environments made up of individuals similar to ourselves. I think that happens frequently on college campuses, especially in res life. I think that's probably where a number of our roommate conflicts come from, because people live with people that they don't know, or they're different from them, they have a different background, they come from a different place. We try to get to the bottom of it, and typically they can't ever give us a straight answer about why they don't like each other. So I think that happens frequently in student organizations, unfortunately. I think about Panhellenic sororities and fraternities. I'll be honest, my Panhellenic organization that I was a part of was not very diverse, and I think that's because people kind of flock towards the people that are like them. So not to say that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just think that it helps me to understand kind of how that happens. And lastly, I like this idea of informal theory, and kind of how that's used to make sense of experiences, and kind of serves as a more common knowledge that allows us to make connections to events and people in the environment, or in our environment. But something else that was interesting was the self-correcting part, and how that theory is not self-correcting. So if you form, not necessarily an opinion, but you think because of theory that a student is going to act a certain way because they're from a certain background. I like to think of like veteran students, for example. There's typically a veterans office that works with those students, and they may be able to approach the students differently, or know kind of the background of how they need to learn, but not every veteran student that comes into the office is going to be treated the same way, or is going to have had the same experiences, or relate to the same situations and handle them the same way. So I think it's just important that we note that not all students coming from a typical background or from a similar background are going to react the same way, and that we just need to make sure that we're not forming kind of they're not stereotypes, but that we're not forming those thoughts and that knowledge, that we're not using as a disadvantage to us to be able to actually help a student. So that is about all I have. I've enjoyed the course so far, and hopefully this post works. Thank you.